Shuklam Bharataram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadhanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnur Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, I think we are in Shloka 40. Start from Niradhara, or even if I have gone, I moved past like one or two, I'll go back to Niradhara and we'll start from there.
We wrote the meanings up to Nirmala.
Okay. So we'll start from Niradhara and we'll try to go in a flow. So this is a whole bunch. I previously mentioned it, and actually is talking about Devi's Nirguna Rupam, the actual attributes. So the first, these many shlokas we were talking about, we talked about the Sthula Swarupam and the Bija Swarupam as the esoteric meanings. Then we went into the Mantra Swarupam, then we went into the Kundalini Swarupam. Now this is the Nirguna Swarupam. This is the fourth dimension of the mother. And this is the real deal. Right? And from till here, it is like very easy for us to imagine a form and visualize it and try to grasp it to our senses. This is beyond any of the sensory perceptions. This is the real real understanding of the mother, the attributeless Nirguna Brahman. So we will be talking about that, and there are deeper meanings for each of these two, so I can go into some depth. I will be sharing. So this is what we call as the Aupanishatic Brahman, the Brahman that has been, we call that Pratipaditattva. So somebody who has been told, given to us from in the Upanishads, the Parabrahman. And this is the Tattva Rupa, not the Stula or the Mantra or the Kundalini Rupam, but this is the Tattva Rupam of the mother. Atma Vidya is starting from here. So, and this is what I think, the one, this is what we need to understand, right? As we evolve in our life stages, this is what needs to be understood. And as Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi, Atmava are drashtavyaha shrotavyo mantavyo niditastavyo. So this is what needs to be understood, the importance of this. So Niradhara, we'll just look at that. And we've spoken about the mother being the substratum of everything, and she is not dependent on any other adhara. So she doesn't need an adhara, is Niradhara. And you would notice as we are going through many of these namas, there is the meditative component as well that I will be sharing. So when we are worshipping Bhagavan in any Rupam, and especially mothers, the Shakti, there are two types of worship. One is external worship, what we call as Bahiryagam, and the internal worship called as Antaryagam. And again, in these two, there is a Vedic way of doing it and a Tantric way of doing it. And I previously mentioned there is a Dakshinacharam and the Vamacharam. In Dakshinacharam, we combine the Vedic and Tantric combination, and that's there is a Samayachara component as well that we have talked about when we were at the Nama Samayachara Tatpara. And
Shiji, are we talking about Nirakara or Niradhara?
Niradhara.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So
we haven't done Nirakara then.
No, this is if it is in the 43rd shloka, the last two namas. Nirakara is in 44th shloka.
Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry.
No worries. Okay, so even the internal worship, Bahiryagam, of course, you need all the adharas, you need all your props and your preparation. So there is a lot of preparation for mother's worship. And we've talked about whether it could be her Vigraham, Divya Vigraham, it could be Sri Chakram, and there are so many other things that we do puja with. And of course, we also need like the Achamana Patras, and there are lots of Patras that are required called Patra Sadhanam to do her puja, the Bahiryagam. The Antaryagam, the internal puja, also is of two types. It is called as Sadhara and Niradhara. So that's where I wanted to just go back to give you that additional meditative component. So Sadhara is with a support. So even in your internal meditation, you are imagining you are doing it to a Sri Chakram in your visual Sri Chakram, or you are doing to Mother's Vigraham. But Niradhara is even not even with that support and doing meditation, just by the attribute or the attributelessness of Mother. And all of these namas, all the ni namas that are coming here in the next few shlokas, those are very, very important to help us frame that structure of what that Niradhara meditation is. So that's why it actually starts with that nama, because that's where, like, if you really chant all of these shlokas, if you really know the meanings of each of these, and you can just go through a full meditation with this set. So that's the Niradhara worship, the very pure intellect of the Atman, of the consciousness or the awareness of that is within us, and without needing for external support. The worship described as Niradhara is the absorption of the understanding, the
Like
manolaya.
Guruji,
Uh-huh.
I was wondering, like when you're saying that, like without any attributes and anything, so that is like you sit in meditation and internally invoke Mother into you yourself. Is that how you?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So when you say, like, no, there's of course Mother is within us, the Chit Shakti that is in that is in us, the Prana Shakti that is in us, the Prana Vayus, everything is her. But when you are meditating upon her, the first thing that comes to mind, because we've been used to names and forms, is using names to call her, or visualizing an image of Mother. Many of us do this, like, what jewelry Mother is wearing and what kind of a beautiful pattu sari she's wearing, etc. Right? So that form comes into picture. It is going beyond the form, because we are talking about Parabrahman, who is the creatrix of this whole universe, and we are trying to bring her into a form that we are very familiar with, like, something that I can relate to as a human form. Now, going beyond that form and visualizing her, even if you're visualizing the whole universe, the galaxies, and, like, I've shared some pictures previously, even that is names and forms, right? Even going beyond that as the consciousness, the awareness in me, the Shakti that is traveling in me, that consciousness is what I'm going to focus on. So that is the Niradhara meditation. It's not very easy to attain to start with, but we all have to start somewhere and hope to get there. So this is actually bringing in all the understanding that we have learned through the Upanishadic statements, the Mahavakyas and the Guru Vakyas and everything, and understanding that Manolayam and doing that meditation called as Samvit meditation. So that's Niradhara. So I'll stop there and move to the next one if everybody is comfortable. No other questions?
Sorry, Guruji. One more question is,
Sure.
like, so indirectly, like if we think like when we focus on the Sri Chakram, like we are going and we are reaching the Bindu, right? Like that's Mother's ultimate seat, right? So
Mm.
like, and that point, like she doesn't have any Swarupa and anything, like that power and energy or whatever call it. That's the thing which we are going to focus. Is that right, Guruji? Do I make sense or?
Yes, in a way, but even Sri Chakram is an Adhara. So at some point, once we start, doing the actual puja and, like, learning how to go through and traverse through the Sri Chakram and going towards the Bindu, you wouldn't really need even that after many, many years of worship. So going beyond, like, even that, and her as pure consciousness. And the Samvit meditation is, closing your eyes and just focusing on your consciousness, and do all your worship to that consciousness that is within you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Sriji, you also said Dakshina and Vamana. So Dakshina is Vedic and Tantric and Vamana is that the meditation, the Sadhara and Niradhara?
No, so Dakshinacharam is the Tantric, the Vedic style with the orthodox style, and the Vamacharam is the where they you could offer mother bali, the meat and liquor, etc. So that has been the Vamachara Paddhati, non-Vedic and non-orthodox in a way. And none of the Paddhatis is wrong. It's just who follows what.
Dakshinacharam again, please. I didn't.
It's the Vedic, how based on what Vedas say and what is in the Tantra philosophy, the Tantric Shastras.
Okay.
A combination of the two in a very orthodox manner. So at some point I'll mention it as we go, we'll get to that point in Lalita Sahasranamam. They're called as Panchamakaras. There is one, there are 5 M's that we offer. And one of the Ma is Mamsa. And in Dakshinacharam, we offer ginger. And in Vamacharam, we offer meat. So those are the kind of differences in the kind of worship. I wouldn't know much about Vamachara as I follow Dakshinacharam, but I only know the essential superficial concepts.
Sriji, Tantric also is Vedic, or Tantric is part of the Dakshinachara, the Vamanachara?
Tantric has both components, and it is about interpretation, right? Like how Upanishads have been interpreted by the Advaitis, by Visishta Advaitis or Dvaitavadis. Everybody has their own interpretation. So Tantra could be interpreted into both different ways. But as soon as you combine that with Vedic texts, that becomes Dakshinachara.
Oh, okay.
To what I understand. Yeah. Okay. So moving to the next nama, we will take these 3 namas together: Niranjana, Nirlepa, Nirmala. When you look at it superficially, all 3 mean that she does not have any impurities. She is beyond impurities. But what does that really mean? Okay. So at some point, I'm trying to recollect for which nama we talked about it. We talked about 3 malas that affect human beings. Does anybody remember that? Arnava malam, Mayika
Yes.
malam, and Karmika malam.
Yes, you did.
Yes. So these are related to those malas. And I mentioned that there is a process called Achamanam, where we usually we do Achamanam in the regular pujas with Keshava Narayana Madhva or Achyutananta Govinda. There is another kind of Tattva Achamanam, it is what is called. And the Achamanam is taken to purify these levels of impurities. So there are 3 kinds of ignorant souls, and what is called as Pashus. And this is related to Pashupati, right? The one who leads the Pashus towards becoming more like the crude to become gentle, is the kind of a sample there. So there are 3 kinds of those malas, and based on what malam somebody has, that's the kind of categorization that's been done. So with Anava malam, somebody who has ego as the mala, and when we say ego, they see non-self in the self, or self in the non-self. That is mostly that ego that doesn't transfer them to believe in the real, like the Atman. So that ego, that Anava malam, is called as those people are categorized as Vijnana Kevala. And then the second kind of mala.
Characteristic then, Guruji.
What is that? Sorry.
When you say Anava Malam, is that can I take that as a characteristic of a person, or?
Yeah, it is their belief, right? It's ego that obstructs them to see the reality. Okay, so maybe when I talk about all three, you can understand, and a person could have all three as well. So it is not that, there is only one category that just suffers with one. So all of us have all the three malas, and over a period of time, we are trying to purify those malas so we can actually see through the absolute reality. So the three malas, Anava, Mayika, and Karmika malam, and the categorization is the first one is ego. Mayika malam is illusion or ignorance or avidya or adhyasa that I was talking about yesterday. It's the superimposition of the non-self over self, the idea of duality. And then karmika malam is due to actions. So these three need to be cleansed. But the one with Anava Malam, that's called Vijnana Kevala. The one with Mayika Malam is called as Sakala. And the one with Karmika Malam is called as Pralayakala. So mother, there are two meanings to each of these three namas. So Niranjana means the one who does not suffer with Vijnana Kevala or the Anava Mala. And also the mother who purifies us of the Anava Mala. And the second nama, Nirlepa. Lepanam is actually is to apply, right? Like we all know what Lepanam is. She is free from the impurity of Pralayakala or the Karmika Malam. So Lepa is the impurity of karma. So she is pure from that, and she is the one who gets rid of the Karmika Malam in us. So that is Nirlepa. And Nirmala, she is said to be one who is free from the Anava Malam. Sorry, I think I got confused there. Niranjana is for Sakala Kala. Mayika Malam is not there. Let me just go back. Sorry about that. She's free from the impurity of Sakala. That's why she is Niranjana. Free from Karmika Mala that's why she is Nirlepa. Free from Anava Mala, that's why she is Nirmala. I was thinking, why did they come in the wrong sequence? Apologies. So these three actually help us, just like, if somebody who is initiated would go through Tattvachamanam, but somebody who is not initiated into that process, by chanting these three namas, these malas get purified. So it is already embedded within Lalita Sahasranamam, all those processes that we follow in order to, for a whole Sri Vidya
Excuse me, Sriji, can you say that one more time, the three?
Yeah. Sorry. I know I confused everybody. Let me go back. She is free from impurity of Sakala, the Mayika Mala. That's why she is Niranjana. And she is free from impurity of Pralayakala or Karmika Malam. That's why she is Nirlepa. And she is free from impurity of the Vijnana Kevala or Anava Mala, or that's why she is Nirmala.
Okay, thank you, Sriji.
So by chanting these on a daily basis, so I've told you, processes are like the Tattvachamanam, the Bhuta Shuddhi, and there are so many other processes, it's a whole sequence of them. They are all embedded within Lalita Sahasranamam as namas that we tend to chant, just to finish Lalita Sahasranamam takes only 10 minutes. But if we know the meaning and doing it with the purpose, then we can appreciate it a lot more. We will get the benefits by default by chanting it, but knowing the meanings, the deeper understanding of what these could actually mean helps us appreciate Lalita Sahasranamam and do it a little more consciously. Moving to the next nama, Nitya, and I'm pretty sure every one of you would remember we talked about Nitya Devis. How many Nitya Devis does anybody remember? I'll check the names.
40, 50.
15, yeah. 15. So one nama is, of course, the meaning is Nitya, she is eternal. And we've been studying a lot about what this eternity is. There is only manifestation and unmanifestation of the universe as a manifested form. But the actual Bhagavan or like mother, they are eternal. There is no destruction to the eternity of their existence. It's only whether they manifest, it's in a manifested universe or an unmanifested creation is what we're seeing or not seeing. That's the main meaning in the Upanishad. But Nitya in Lalita Sahasranamam also means the Nitya Devis. So we'll chant all the Nitya Devis, and I'll just take 1 minute to explain. And previously I've shared the pictures of the Nitya Devis, and also they all have like their individual chakras, and they have their individual mantras and whatnot. The mantras I cannot share, but we have previously seen the pictures of the yantras and the pictures of those of all the 15 Nitya Devis. So we'll chant the Nitya Devi names and then we'll go into understanding a little bit about them. Kameshwari, Bhagamalini, Nityaklinna, Bherunda, Vanhivasini, Mahavajreshwari, Shivaduti, Tvarita, Kulasundari, Nitya, Neelapataka, Vijaya, Sarvamangala, Jwala Malini, Chitra. And Mahanitya, which is Mahatripura Sundari, as the 16th, the transition between 15 to number 1 again.
This is in Devi Khatgamala, right?
Yes, it is in Devi Khatgamala. Yeah. So Nitya Devis represent each of the tithis in the lunar calendar. So the Pratipat Tithi or Prathama Tithi, Padyami, is Kameshwari. So in a Shukla Paksha versus a Krishna Paksha, this changes. It's in the reverse order in the Krishna Paksham. So the Prathama, the Padyami Tithi Nitya Devi for Krishna Paksham would be Chitra. So did I make sense with that? Sorry. Everybody knows the Shukla Paksham and the Krishna Paksham, I'm assuming.
Can you say that again, please?
Sure. Starting from Amavasya, like after Amavasya, there is Padyami, the first day. From there until Paurnami is the Shukla Paksham. And then from Paurnami coming back towards Amavasya, that is the Krishna Paksham. So when we are going, so today is Ekadashi in the Krishna Paksham. So if I counted from Chitra, so I would know for the 11th mother from there. So Chitra, Jwala Malini, Sarvamangala, Vijaya, Neelapataka, Nitya, Kulasundari, Tvarita, Shivaduti, Mahavajreshwari. So today is Vanhivasini Tithi. So today's Tithi Nitya Devi is Vanhivasini. Did that make sense? I'll repeat again.
Yes, that picture you showed in one of the previous lectures during Jwala Malinika, that was very, I took a printout of that, so that helps to look at the picture.
Yeah, so let me just probably pull that picture on internet and let me see. And I've shared 3 different pictures previously, so I'm going to try to pull all 3 of them. Okay, so that's one. That's too small. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, this is good. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Shriji, I have a question on this picture.
Sure.
It shows the full moon right in the middle with no name, whereas Chitra has got a little bit of shadow.
So they're trying to explain that the transition between the Paurnami and the next Padyami, that is Mahanitya, and there is no way they can, I think, put it as a picture. So it starts from Kameshwari, and 15th would be Amavasya, and then 15th would be Paurnami.
16th is Paurnami?
15th.
Oh, 15.
Yeah.
But here 15 is shown as Chitra with a shadow.
Yeah, exactly. So ignore that and take it the, like, just move one line.
Okay, thank you.
So let me just go to forms of the mother. Doesn't want to zoom any further than that. So here, so Lalita Mahatripura Sundari, and we actually talked about this as well. So there is Bindu, and there is the Trikonam, the downward pointing triangle just around Bindu. And the Nitya Devis are positioned on the edges of that Trikonam. And there's a lot more going on in this Trikonam in the Sri Chakra. So it's the central Trikonam here. There is a lot more than Nitya Devis, but we'll focus on just this part for now. So Kameshwari, so there is Amavasya, and then there is the Padyami, right? For that Padyami, Kameshwari is the Nitya Devi. And then Bhagamalini for the Dvitiya. Tritiya Tithi, Nitya Klinna. Chaturthi Tithi, Berunda. Panchami Tithi, Vanhivasani. That's how you get to Chitra for the Paurnami and Amavasya. And in between the transition, after Paurnami, as we transition into the next Padyami, that's when that fraction of, like, one of the Paramanus is Lalita Mahatripura Sundari. She's not that easy to grasp or won't stay for a whole day, right? Like, she is subtle, and so she is the transition between the two. But when it comes to Paurnami, so we've moved from after Amavasya, we traveled 15 days. Now we are at Paurnami, and now it's again another 15 days starting from Padyami. So that is called Krishna Paksham. From Paurnami, as the moon is waning. So this is the Krishna Paksha Padyami. So it'll start from Chitra. And Dvitiya would be Jwala Malini. Tritiya in a Krishna Paksham would be Sarva Mangala. Chaturthi would be Vijaya. Now do you understand the concept?
Yeah, thank you.
Now it made sense.
Okay.
Guruji, each of these Tidhis will have their own characters, right, Guruji? On that day, like,
absolutely, yeah.
Like, there's a particular way of invoking them and what they like bring in you.
There is a whole puja for this, and actually, like, each of the mothers have a different characteristic, and they bestow different things as we progress through our spiritual progress. Like I mentioned about Tvarita, right? So Tvarita, as, like, the meaning itself of Tvarita is she pushes us forward much quickly. So we do special things on Tvarita for faster spiritual progress. But at the same time, Jwala Malini actually also, we've talked about that previously, she avoids distractions and she binds us to the sadhana. So there is, like, each mother has their own chakra, and that's the thing that I'm going to pull here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. It doesn't work. Then the tab. This WebEx thing is so sensitive, the sharing one. Okay, let me see if I can zoom this a little bit. We can't really read it, but these are individual mother, like a Nitya Devi chakras. And they have their own pujas, and there is initiation and all of that. They have their own mantras and the whole process for it. So obviously we won't go into that kind of detail.
Where does Mahanitya, what is the connection between Mahanitya and Lalita Tripura Sundari?
Okay, so Lalita Tripura Sundari, as, like, I'll explain that as both, as I mentioned, Mahanitya is the transition between the Paurnami to the Padyami and the Amavasya to Padyami. That's one part of it. The second part of the whole Nitya thing is, so Bhavanopanishad says that in a day, we've talked about this as well in the past. Hamsa, I think in that relation we've talked about it. In a day, we take about, on an average, 21,600 swasas, inhalation, exhalation combinations. We've talked about that. So Mahanitya is the full 21,600. She is traveling within us as our breath, as our inhalation and exhalation, as the prana shakti within us. So each of the Tithi Nityas are 1,440 swasas, starting from morning till night. At the end, The samishti rupam of all of these shwasas is Mahanitya, moving to the next tithi, next day, going again from, but in this case, Nitya always starts from Kameshwari. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry,
Thank
Guruji.
you.
So you mean to say like this Mahanitya, when you said, like, I'm trying to think, like, so we are, all the Nityas are in our body itself, and in one particular point they travel through us and come. So the full cycle which you're talking happens every day in our body itself. Is that right?
Correct. So that's what we call as the ajapa. Basically, with our shwasa, we are continuously doing the japam of mother. We are just, keeping that prana shakti alive, right?
So is that like why, like, I'm trying to think like what you're saying, like, is that why, like, sometimes we do things fast, we do things slow? Is that is it related to this cycle, Guruji?
Possibly, but at the same time, because of all the malas, we also are not the purest forms, right? So though there is an influence happening inside, we tend to ignore that influence, and we move the world in our own pace. So think about all the party folks. Not that I have anything against partying, but my day ends at 2 a.m. and my day begins at 12 noon or 1 p.m. So is that the real sadhana? Is our lifestyle? I know maybe somebody is just doing a lot of adrenaline oriented work. Are they not breathing more than 21,600 times? And is that not influencing, or the external influence interspersing with the internal influence in that case?
Okay. Guruji.
So it's about being focused and what's happening, and that's what all the Veda tells us, is what's happening inside is the whole macrocosm within our own body, but we are always focused on this and that, like all this nama rupas, that adhyasa, that always running behind something, and we don't tend to focus on our own self. And if you re-listen to what I was saying yesterday, Guru is the one who holds that, who helps us hold that mirror to explain to us to look at our own self, and Vedas help us look at our own self for the first time. Otherwise, from day one, it's always external things. As soon as I'm born, I cry for the first breath, and then as soon as I kind of get some sense of breath and I'm breathing, I want food, and I want to sleep. I'm cranky. From like the very moment we are born, we are always seeking for external things, and Veda teaches us to look inwards.
Thank you, Guruji.
Guruji, can I assume, or am I right in thinking that these Nitya Devis are positioned in our body in different places, and the swashas travel through that? Is that how? I mean, am I right in thinking like that, or did I get it wrong?
Yeah, you could put it that way, but what you have to think is the Shvasa itself, each of the Swasa itself is Nitya Devi.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's not, we do actually have, positions for each of the Nitya Devis. We say certain things, and so there is again the Bahiryagam part and the Antaryagam part. There is the chakra, the petals of the chakra. We've talked about that. So we position all the mothers in each of those. But in essence, what all of this is trying to tell us, that consciousness, be aware of the awareness that you are in, and that awareness is you. And what's keeping that awareness be aware is, sorry, I sound like somebody repeating the same word over and over again. So being aware of the consciousness and what is actually happening within us. And like, I've previously mentioned, each of the nadis have names, each of the nadis have special bijaksharas, mantras, they have their own yantras. I have not seen any book yet. At some point, maybe I will get to it, or maybe I'll be blessed to see that. 72,000 nadis, one that I have not seen that, but there is so much study on the 108 I keep talking about. So they have their own yantras, they have their own mantras. So these are nadis, right? If you think about, like, many mistranslations of sort from Westerners on the Indian philosophy, would have tried to compare nadis to nervous system, or we still call it parasympathetic system. So it's almost like you're naming each and every artery. We do have those names in medical books, but praying to those, like, go to the detail of who we are and what we are made of and how we connect that to the macrocosm, and actually appreciate each one of those and pray to those as Mother Goddess. That's the depth of who we are. So I don't know if I'm conveying the way I feel it. It's just immense, and I don't think there is any other religion that can even closely compare to the kind of depth we have in our knowledge.
The 1400 breath is for each
1440.
1440?
1440, yeah.
For each Nitya Devi?
1440. So, Chatvarimshadadika. Sorry, I'm trying to recollect. I do that almost on a daily basis. 1 second. I'll tell you. The term we use for that is Chatvarimshadadika Chaturdasha Shata Swasa. So 40 over 1400. So 1440 swasas. So if you divide to 21,600 by 15, you get that number.
Okay, so that is for one Nitya Devi, right?
Each Nitya Devi. It starts from first thing in the morning and till end of the day. And then final for Maha Tripura Sundari Mahanitya, it is Shatchatadika Ekavimshati Sahasra Swasas. That is 21,600.
So is that why they say that our breath keeps on changing every 14 minutes or so, something like that?
That is related to whether it is Pingala active or Ida active. So that is related to Swara. But this is any swasa, any just breath that we are taking.
Oh, okay.
Whether we are taking it through Pingala or Ida, doesn't matter. All swasas are Nitya forms.
Thank you, Shriji.
So there is the Nitya for the Tithi component, and Nitya for Shwasa component, and Nitya as the eternal mother. So this, all of this, try to meditate upon these different things, and you will see the connection between them. There is no contradiction. You will always see everything is so well connected, no matter how many books, and like there are libraries and libraries of books on each of these, and no matter which book you pick, they're very easily reconciled with each other.
Very fascinating, Guruji. I was just thinking, like, we are with the Maya and the Malam component, everything. We are not looking at ourselves. We are running around so many other things.
Exactly.
We are letting external factors to influence us so much that, like, we are not looking into us. We are not realizing what we have and how much we can benefit from ourselves. Thank you.
Okay. So there is so much, like, I'm so passionate about that part itself. I was telling my son the other day, so as soon as we heard Dr. Jyotirmay ji is not able to make it, Shaji Mahoday called me, but I wasn't able to take any calls till end of the day. My work day was quite crazy. Sorry, I'm digressing. So I almost caught up with him around 6 p.m. when he probably contacted me at 12 or so. And then I was thinking, like, wow, and I had a very hectic Friday too, and then Friday evening I had multiple classes. So I was thinking, okay, what am I going to speak about? The first thing that came to mind was Shakti Sadhana. I have no idea why she wanted me to do that. Because there are so many topics that I could be speaking about. So I felt, okay, maybe it's all women speakers. So I'm going to just, probably bring mother into that as well. But I was telling my son, as I was starting to think about, okay, what are the things that I would be speaking about? I told him I could be speaking a whole lifetime about this. And what's difficult is how much to pull down to fit into a 30-40 minute presentation. So that was the most difficult part. And I think I still kind of extended it over multiple topics in that. But there is so much. There is so much to learn.
Given that short time period, you did an awesome job, Shriji.
Thank I hope I did.
That's
It's her.
it in
Whatever
that.
she wanted to convey.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I was thinking, whatever she wants to convey to whoever will join. So even I don't bother anytime looking at like the participant list if somebody joined today or did not join today, how many joined. It doesn't even bother me. She knows who needs to listen to what message at what time. So she'll take care of all of that. I just need to say, okay, this is the sequence that I'm going in, and she'll make it happen. And today I was thinking like I'll cover half of these shlokas, right? So I was thinking I'll do half of the na namas, like all the Nirada, Niranjana. I wanted to do at least till 46, but looks like we're still in 44.
Sorry, Guruji, we have been asking a lot of questions because
No,
it's
no.
so interesting. And it's a
Not at
blessing,
all.
like all of us staying here, listening to it. And I feel like we are blessed, and Mother wants us to listen to her through you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, just instruments, right? But at the same time, I also feel like I'm taking up so much of DTOB's time. I need to stop to figure out what is the end date that I would say, yeah, I concluded one session. So I'm thinking like by the end of 2021, we'd probably hope to finish both Vishnu Sahasram and Lalita Sahasram, or much before that. At least I'm not going to drag it till December. Okay. The next nama is Nirakula. Okay, we'll do this quickly, so we'll finish it in the next 2 minutes. So Nirakula, this is again now going into one. Oh yeah, I forgot to actually mention one thing that Mother is removing. I'll go back to one of the namas. Niranjana. So this actually means blemishlessness. And in meditation, if one focuses on the Ajna meditation over a period of time, so they'll see light. And that light initially has blemishes, it's just blips, and then like dark spots in it, and that kind of vision. But over a period of time, that gets to just pure bright white light. So that nama Niranjana actually has to do with that stainlessness or spotless light in Ajna meditation. So something I did not want to cover the chakra parts of these namas. There is that component as well, the meditation component. Somehow she wants me to do it. Okay, so Nirakula, without agitation, though in contact with avidya, she is not agitated. So she is here and now, right? And that's what we keep saying. Like, as Bhagavan told Arjuna, it's not, you will not get your moksha only if you run away and you sit in a corner. You should be here and then do your dharma, and that's how you get to it. So she being the consciousness, being in touch with all the Maya, the energy, matter, and everything that's going on, she is untouched by all of that. So she is Maya, she is untouched by it. So that's the meaning of she, though she is in contact with avidya, she is not agitated. Or the other one is she is far from, nir means away from those whose minds are agitated. Think about that one sentence and meditate what your meditation should be in order to achieve her. So that's the meditation component. The third meaning to this is akula means void. So she is nir akula. So this actually, there is the nihilistic philosophies as well, where everything is void, sarvam shunyam. So this actually contradicts that philosophy and destroys that theory. And she is not void, she is everything, she is infinite, but not zero. So that's the third meaning to this. There are 7 other layers, and we would never be ending. Even just one nama will take us a whole lifetime to understand properly, so we'll end it there. Any final thoughts before we conclude?
I love these sessions, Guruji. Even if you're taking time, absolutely, we are learning. You're helping us to do our critical thinking, find ourselves like where we are. So thank you so much.
Isn't there another?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Isn't there another meaning for akula in Sanskrit?
Akula actually is a chakra called Akula Sahasram, and it is below Mooladhara, 2 levels below Mooladhara.
And Akula is a different word.
I'm trying to think Akula. Let me see if there is a meaning to it. I'm not recollecting anything.
Is it anxiety?
What is that, Satiji?
In Malayalam, it's anxiety.
Yeah, in Malayalam, it's anxiety, akula.
Yeah, so there is Akula, which is stunned, bewildered, uneasy, agitated, confused.
Right. So that
goes back to that same meaning, nir akula, so not being agitated.
Ah, right. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Shriji, did you explain Nirakara? I don't know, maybe I lost you at that time.
That's the next nama, right? We're
Oh,
talking
because
about.
we did,
Right. Like, we just
we
talked
did
about
Nirlepa, Nirmala, Nitya, and then you went on to Nirakula.
Yeah. So Nirakara, put it this way, like, she doesn't have an akaram, and it kind of contradicts. She's the mother. She has all the names and forms, and she created all the names and forms, but she is Nirakara. She doesn't have any akara, and also comes back to doing the meditation on the Nirakara Swarupam of the mother being the highest form of meditation.
Thank you.
So akara is form, is that what it is?
Akara is form, yeah. And I always say studying Vishnu Sahasram and Lalita Sahasram is quite helpful because Vishnu Sahasram is very Vedantic and Lalita Sahasram is a combination of Vedanta, Tantra and Yoga Shastra. So combining those together, you go a little faster because you have been studying Vedanta in a lot more depth in Vishnu Sahasranamam, and then you're adding these layers on top of it. So it is a holistic approach. So while this may sound a lot more like, interesting because of meditation, the whole like substratum behind all of this is Bhagavan himself, right? Mother is quite attractive because she has a form. So I'll take just one more minute to explain. I think I might have said this already in this class. One of our pravachana kartas actually says, mother, like, just think about it as a elderly couple where the father prefers to sit and read newspaper, so mother quickly gives him coffee, gives him like, his breakfast and gives him like, what he needs and puts everything ready for him, and then she says she dresses up in her nice kanjivaram sari with all the buttu and all the jewelry, and she says I just have like, somebody is doing a puja, I have to go to what we call as parentum, right? To get paspu kunkam. So she just says like, just now I'll go and come back while you just read your newspaper and have this coffee. I'll be right back. And she just goes does this whole manifesting of the universe and all the Maya and everything, and then she merges back with him. So he explains it very beautifully. So think about it that way. It's beautiful. Okay, we'll conclude with that. पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ सर्वं श्रीपरदेवतार्पणमस्तु.
Namaskaram, Sri Devi ji. Thank you.
Thank you, Shriji.
Thank you.